brain slew, slick with ectoplasmic juice. Ecstatic energy, a fire that fuels our memory. With genealogy, with spiritual topography. Questions for your answers, we are data necromancers. My brain sluice is clogged with ectoplasmic juice.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon. It's episode number 69. We're just talking about fireworks.
Yeah. I like those cheeky highway reminders not to drive drunk. The one out there on...
Don't drive lit.
It says, you're not a firework, don't drive lit. And then I think of the Katy Perry song where she says... Baby, you're a firework. So I get conflicted, mixed messages.
I feel like your ancestors are excited that it's 4th of July.
Why? Because they're all military heads?
And Quakers? No, like real old ones.
Oh.
Your baddies.
Did the Quakers come from Wales?
I'm Pilgrims. Sorry. I just throw all of them in the Quaker Oat category because they all looked like that.
Yeah, I think my oldest ancestor that I can locate in the Americas is Banfield Capron, and he is from Wales. Banfield Capron from Wales.
Is he a Quaker?
Let me see if there's anything about him. Ancestry. You're the bestery.
Lucas and I have recently been watching Survivors of Natural Disasters stuff.
Oh.
Dude, would you ever go
like
to
mudslides and stuff?
What's the capital of Nepal?
Timbuktu, Kathmandu, Mumbai, Bombay. No, that's India.
Kathmandu.
I
didn't know it was on a fucking mountain range. Like I figured Sherpas were up doing religious stuff on mountains, but not that the entire city. It's one of the most densely populated cities on the earth. It looked, I was like, oh,
why? Because it's so small. That's why it's so densely. Or there's actually a lot of people up there.
God, it's got 1.4 million people up just in a mountain city. Ugh, many of the city's historic sites were damaged by a 2015 earthquake. That was crazy. All these Hindu temples just, oh God, it's so heartbreaking, just crumbling. Ancient.
That's the nature of all the things that we build and all the things that we experience.
Built it on a top of a mountain.
Oops. But I guess when you don't have the ability to zoom out and see a geologic timeline, because geologic timelines are so vast. Our puny little lives are but a blink of an eye in the lifetime of a mountain. But I guess if we can analyze sedimentation and plate tectonics and shit, so we understand that the Appalachian Mountains are the most ancient mountain chain on the planet, even though they're so small. So maybe
I didn't know that. That's crazy.
They're heavily eroded because they're so old. And so they probably didn't know or have any idea that the earth crashing into itself is how mountains are made and that they're constantly moving. So they're like, wow, mountain, this is solid. This thing's going to last forever. Opposite, babe.
No, you need to go find the flattest.
That's going to change too. It'll probably flood, What can you do? Because even if you build a giant pontoon city in the middle of the ocean, it could dry up.
Speaking of pontoon city in the middle of the ocean, can you tell us about your McDonald's breakfast you had? Was that today?
Yeah, it was this morning.
You got a sausage, what?
Bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit.
Bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit. I'm a big fan of the McMuffin.
Why?
I like the English muffin aspect.
I'm a biscuit head. I'm from the South. You're from the west of Middingtons. And because I like biscuits, and it's the only place on earth that you could get a biscuit like that. That I don't know what name that character is, but she went on that diatribe about Rosilla. Do you remember when I did that?
What are you talking about?
When I was driving to Lubbock to see Josh and Maddie, I I made up this character who was talking about Rosilla. She has a little bit of a lisp, and she was talking about how we had to invite Rosilla to leave the family because she could only throw underhanded, and that.
Is that a code for she's a pitcher, not a catcher? I don't even know.
I don't either.
You pitch cum, right? Like
you pitch cum? What does that mean? Oh, somebody
a sexual,
like when you ejaculate with a penis, you're
the pitcher?
You're the pitcher, you're throwing
You're not
it.
the catcher.
Right. And I didn't even consider any of that because I don't always think about cum.
Me neither.
Are we rolling?
Not. We are rolling. Davis is like, somebody talk about a pitcher? My mom was a pitcher.
Hey. Wait, aren't all moms catchers?
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, shit. Let's go. Let's go, Dee's
What
mom.
kind of coffee did you get from McDonald's? The scalding hot,
black, so hot, too hot to drink. I took a sip and my tongue died, and I was like, that's the end of that tongue.
I watched a documentary about the psyops of the schmear campaign, the schmear
like a bagel and a schmear.
that McDonald's did to make the media think that this woman was being a little bitch about how hot her coffee was. But then you see pictures. If you guys Google McDonald's crotch lawsuit,
oh,
it fucking like demolished. And they had like 1,467 complaints about injuries relating to how hot their coffee was. But since they're such a large corporation, they can just do whatever they want.
They started picking them off.
Yeah, like, fuck you.
They were like black bagging them and throwing them in a van.
Yeah, and they were just brainwashing the media and pushing all these narratives about how if you bitch about how hot coffee is, you're not American.
Is it too hot for you?
And I'm like, dude, have you guys seen the pictures of this woman's crotch? She just wants you to pay for all the years of skin grafts that she's gonna fucking need.
That is so gnarly. There's no reason for it to be that hot.
No, and then that's what, like, the prosecutors were saying. We're like, okay, average coffee temp is 180 degrees or whatever. And
yeah, at most.
Yours is almost 300. Something like, it's just like fucking ridiculous.
My question is, how could it get that hot? I guess it's in a closed container, so it can't turn to steam.
It's just the machines that make them. There's no
regulating. It's just sitting on a boiler.
The water temp, you cannot regulate the water temp that comes out.
I need to ask Aaron because water boils at 212 Fahrenheit, and so it turns to steam after that. So what's happening to make it get so hot with still being a liquid? You know, there should be a phase change because water at 212 I thought turns into vapor, you know? How can it be so hot? Is it because it's coffee, not water? Ça, c'est la question.
The jury did find that McDonald's was at fault.
Okay, good.
Their coffee was at 190 degrees.
Okay, that's very hot.
That's very hot. It turns to steam at 210?
212.
212.
100 degrees C for all of those outside of the United States.
This is 30 degrees hotter than what is considered normal.
Potable.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty gnar. I am grateful that I've never sustained such a gnarly burn before.
Ooh, speaking of that, another environmental docu-series about...
She's thirsty for knowledge. She's just always watching docs.
40 people, 40 tourists went to the most active volcano on Earth, which is it's on an island in New Zealand.
Oh.
And they were like coming from a cruise ship and they were on their honeymoon and they were going to this volcanic island. And there's footage of it going off. But it's one of those volcanoes where it doesn't erupt with lava because that's all happening down below the surface. So it's all steam.
Ooh, yay.
And 21 people were essentially boiled to death.
Good
and the
God.
survivors are just, I mean, totally mangled. I was like, man, number one way I don't want to die is steamed to death. The people that were on a boat that had just left before the volcano erupted and was headed back when they saw that it did, people were flinging themselves into the boats because they're in such pain, and their skin was just coming off.
Yuck.
So one of the pastors was like, this woman was begging me to hold her hand, and I couldn't because all the skin was coming off. But they were trying to shield them from the salty water, but also like, so Lucas has worked at several burn units, and he starts going into like, all of them are going to die if you don't get medical treatment immediately. And by boat, they were an hour and a half away from shore.
Oh my gosh.
But this private helicopter company who was being told by the Coast Guard, do not fly out there because obviously it's an active volcano, and those people in the helicopter were like, fuck you, like we need to go rescue these people.
Damn.
Yeah, they went and like they could only really grab a couple because they're like teeny little helicopters. And then they were like, you need to bring them to the airport, and they're like, we're going to the fucking hospital. Like,
hell yeah.
Yeah, they went totally rogue and saved their lives, because it's so funny. If nobody knew that the volcano, they didn't have any system in place. This was 2019. They're like, oh, there's more.
Why would they be
clouds.
so lackadaisical about approaching an active volcano?
Isn't that weird? That's what some of the people were talking about. They're like, the cruise ship made it seem like fun, that this wasn't dangerous at all. And it has erupted twice in the last like 7 years.
I may interject with an opinion.
You may.
Part of my reckoning of like, what does it mean to be an adult human? It's like realizing that you can't trust things that people say, and you have to make your own estimation as far as your own safety, and then, you know, by extension, your progeny's safety. Like, you have to be in charge of, like, you can't just rely on what someone says, like, oh yeah, I went out there yesterday and I'm fine. It's an active volcano. There's certain risks involved. It's just like the submersible thing. It's like, what? I don't know. I just feel like you need to take responsibility and not put yourself in those types of situations. Meanwhile, I'm going to an island that has an active volcano in a few days.
But I'm going to guess that Italy is monitoring that volcano to some degree, whereas New Zealand was like, huh? And then they had zero protocol. They didn't know that there were tourists out there. They didn't know, like, there was just... 2019
is just...
Nobody's been allowed back since. And I'm like, yeah, good.
Yeah.
You know what's weird is one of the survivors, they couldn't find his sister. Just gone.
Like she spontaneously combusted?
Yeah, it's like, where did she go?
Oh, shit. That's so gnarly. And then I think about what life would be like without skin, and I'm like, damn, I fucking love my skin.
I told Lucas, I was like, man,
just put a bullet between my eyes.
Yes, I don't want to... I'm done. Tap out. I'm not afraid of death. Fucking kill me. Chop it off. I don't want to get on a boat that's just like going like this for an hour and a half. Meanwhile, 80% of my skin is gone. No.
Fuck.
No. Die.
So gnarly. So gnarly.
Yeah, the pictures of the survivors were like, modern medicine man. Hallelujah. Because there's...
Like, what do you do? Dip them in wax? How does the skin heal?
Lucas was talking about how your entire regulatory system is fucked when you're super burned. So you're feeling really cold, and you're severely dehydrated now. Like, you've fucked up the entire thing that keeps you alive.
Yeah. I say a prayer for those without skin that'll have all those burns. I pray for them. I pray they will find some peace. I went to Half Price Books yesterday.
Did you find the vagina book? I need to buy it still.
Oh, shit. No, I didn't know I was looking for it. I just go in there and sort of like am led around by the book's callings. So I got 3 books. One is from the self-help section. One is from the sci-fi section, and one is from the regular fi or fiction section.
I like fi. I got a fi book the other day.
The fi book is called Sophie's World, and it's like a novel about the history of philosophy, and I'm interested in it. It's like pretty thick.
Dude, you always find books that sound sick.
Yeah, and I'm excited about it. I have no idea what it is. I haven't read anything on the internet about it. I just picked it up because it looked cool. And then the sci-fi book is called Nina Underground, and it's a post-apoc. It takes place on a farm in West Virginia where Nina and her aunt are like striving and trying to survive. And then like her uncle shows up and they thought he was dead, and then the back cover seemed like Nina has to make a choice between an attractive maniac who's threatening and a disgusting, soft-hearted, apathetic, or like there's like Nina. So I'm really excited about that one too. And then the self-help book, it was too funny not to buy. Have you heard of the famous book Women Are From Venus, Men Are From Mars? This is by the same author, but it's called Mars and Venus Together Forever. I'm really excited to read it.
Fuck yeah.
So that's what I got to go to Sicily, because I'm going to have a lot of time to read, I assume.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody was asking me about how's rubbish going and stuff, and I was like, dude, fucking Apocalyptic Kitchen is back. We're coming full circle.
We're doing it. Yeah, it's
and
going to happen.
He was like, why don't you hit up South by? And I was like,
what does that mean?
I was like, to.
So we can be sponsored by Tito's?
No, and he said that it's like a place where a lot of filmmakers or a lot of creative, hyper creative people go to try to
oh, hell yeah.
get grants or money. He's like, people will invest. If he's like, especially like cooking content, he's like, people love that. There's a lot of rich investor people who want to throw money and be like, do whatever you want. So
I speak it into existence, yeah.
So
I wrote that down. I wrote down a big long thing about how it's gonna go.
Just because, like, if somebody threw us, man, just think of what kind of puppets we could make with $2,000. Oh, I mean, it could be like fucking. We could get so great.
Yeah. Have you heard of Christine McConnell? She's a very talented artist, sculptor, but also baker, and she makes like these really fucking sick Halloween bakes, like intricate, incredible, like spooky, scary, and I assume delicious things. They gave her a little Netflix show that had like 6 episodes, and she had puppets, and one of them was a roadkill raccoon that she had sewed back to life, and the other one was like one of those Egyptian cats, one of those hairless cats.
Sphinx. Yeah,
and I thought it was fantastic, but I don't think they brought her back for another season.
Doesn't matter.
But
because you're making, like, I don't like to think of longevity, but it's like if you get the one time to do just a little.
Yeah, so I think about that. She's like quite serious in her delivery, like
less Pee Wee Herman, more.
Yeah, I don't think humor is a big part of what she does. So the puppets were doing humor, but it was like kind of dry. But anyway, it didn't really appeal to a lot of people. But that kind of format, I don't know if I need to banter with puppets, but it could be cool. I liked when we did the zombie arm and it like coming into the frame and me like hitting it away like that. That was a nice arm. I spent some time on that arm.
It was a great arm, and it lasted up until only a few months ago where it just kind of fell apart.
I loved that arm.
I really wanted to get a shotgun mount for it.
I love that.
So, because I planned on keeping all of your masterpieces.
I had time to make that arm and the miniature replica of your kitchen because of the pandemic. That's why I was doing all that. And all those little monsters.
I still feel
Halloween.
like, though, well, with your job now, you make enough.
Oh, yeah. I think I would have plenty of time.
Fuck ton of time.
Yeah. Definitely. And that was the plan. I was like, okay, I'll work Thursday night, Saturday morning, Sunday night, and then help Aaron and Whitney whenever they need it. But really, I'll have like the bulk of the week to dedicate to my wacky rubbish cook, however it wants to come out. So that's, and we've been doing it for years now. I was talking to J-Rock about it yesterday, and he was like, y'all been doing it for years now? Yeah. I was like, yeah, I think April 2021 is when we first started our endeavor. I kind of blanked out for a sec.
It got so good to cut chops, do it no matter what. Like, watching all of them, like, Megan went through this, you know, it's just like a total, Ruby wasn't potty trained in this episode, you know, just like,
oh yeah, she peed. She was on
we
her
were potty
pee.
training, yeah, and then we said pee, and then she went pee, and then just peed.
She peed on command.
Which is part of potty training, yeah. There's cupcakes over there if you want one.
Oh, thank you. What kind?
Unicorn?
Zanzibar banana?
Zanzibar banana.
Malabar cinnamon?
Tahitian
fruit. Dick vanilla?
Tahitian syphilis?
It is a little hot.
It's fucking hot in here.
Only because this fabric doesn't really breathe.
It's like the wife always saying, hey babe, can't keep the house at 70 all the time because it's going to be $400. And then he's like, yeah. And then he gets the $400 bill.
It's cavernous in here. It's like a church. There's no, like, you're heating and cooling a lot of empty space. You should think about getting your ceiling removed. Pushed down. Or you could get, like, you could make it like the house of a sultan or like a tent. Just have like
cool
draping. But it would totally change the vibe of the space. It would be more like an opium den. Which could be cool. I don't know.
Did you say you were bringing to the table some self-indulgent something or another, or am I just totally making that up?
Self-indulgent something or other. No, I didn't bring anything today. Except myself.
Except yourself.
Let's see if I've got anything.
You're about to go out of town for 2 weeks.
I know.
You're gonna have so much fun.
I believe that. I don't want to leave Kitty. She'll be fine.
Willow's gonna be right where she only wants to be right there.
I know. She's gonna be fine. But all my plants are looking really good right now too, and I don't really know how to give instruction on how to water them because I just do it by feeling.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
When they call to you, that was part of my mediumship. She's like, you have plants? I'm like, yeah. She's like, you got to start communicating with them. I was like, I don't fucking know how to. They're like, they die all the time.
I know.
But if you do start paying attention, they're like, oh, this is a living thing. Mm-hmm. You know, you can kind of.
I always think, because Adam waters the plants at Let's Eat, the potted ones. And I always think that they are so thirsty. But he doesn't really water them that often. And they They are on a platform of baking.
I don't water mine that often either.
Right. No, I've realized that I need to stop watering them so much. But I think the little orchid that Ruby gave me is toast.
The orchids are hard. You're also not supposed to water them.
I just let it sit in the bathroom.
You're supposed to put an ice cube on it, I think.
Once a week, it said.
Still dying. I also fertilize them with my own shit.
Oh, nice. Her own poop shit.
I worked with somebody who would take her menstrual blood and feed it to her plants, and I was like, that's probably not doing anything. I don't know, it might, but
you capture it in like the Diva cup? Huh. That's something.
I felt bad because she was saying something that she believed in front of a lot of industry workers who are like, but me, I'm the weirdo. I'm like, yeah, cool. That sounds cool.
There was a book, like a novel that one of my friends read like 25 years ago or something. And it was about like the quest for eternal youth, like a woman's quest. She was like some kind of vampire, but not like a suck your blood you know,
she's an S or D kind
bitey
of
vampire, she would steal tampons from like teenagers.
Yuck.
And like put the tampons in teacups and like drink their
I wouldn't fucking read that
menses.
book. I would not read that book. That book's disgusting. Who the fuck wrote that book? Fuck that guy. Was it a chick?
I don't know. I want to know if it's
because if it's a dude who wrote it, that's a big no-no.
Okay, novel where woman drinks tampons. Innocence by Jane Mendelsohn.
Oh, okay, it's by a lady.
Seriously, Jane, the tampon tea bags? It's a comment.
Seriously, yeah, it's just like, ew, I don't.
That's so nuts. One woman's used tampon is another vampire's tea bag.
Here's another lost episode.
Oh, I got Banfield Capron up here on my family tree. He was born July 16th. I can celebrate him in a couple weeks. 1660 in Chester, Wales. And he died the 20th of August in 1752 in Attleboro, Massachusetts.
So he made it over here.
He was the first one.
Oof.
He was in the American Revolution.
How long did that take?
For him to come over?
Yeah. For all those people to come over.
I think it was an ongoing process. But I don't know. I should know. He's my 8th great-grandfather.
Whoa. Okay. It takes a week in this era.
Yeah,
the average voyage took from 40 to 90 days.
I thought it would be 4 or 5 months, but it's only 3 months.
Could you imagine? That's miserable.
3 months at sea.
Pooping and peeing and being stuck with people. Nobody, it's not like today you get on a Amtrak train and you get like a little bed.
Yeah, oh no. It makes me think of how drunk they all were, probably.
Yeah, I guess if I had enough rum, it would be totally fine.
Yeah, I think this preceded the age of rum, but they definitely had beer or wine.
Yeah, when did they start distilling shit?
When they discovered the Caribbean.
1650?
Oh, maybe they did have it.
1620 is the first time they've...
Rum was like hella
distilled.
American,
Mm-hmm.
It was like coffee taking place of tea. It was that kind of... Oh, by the way, today's July 4th.
Happy... What are you doing today? Anything?
No, just thinking about Will Smith. Will Smith and his family.
Will Smith, Willow Smith?
No coincidence. It's not a coincidence. Are you doing anything American today?
No, I typically don't go anywhere or do anything for 4th of July because this entire street lights off fireworks. Just sit in the driveway.
Nice.
And they're real fireworks. It's just everywhere.
I might get some watermelon. Just because that's...
It's a cool day. I still think it's like... There's like the extremes, right?
Yeah.
The colonial bullshit. And you're like, okay, yeah, but here we have freedom of speech and freedom of religion. It's
I know.
like
we have,
really
on one hand, the
rad.
legacy of slavery, and on the other hand, we have...
You can hold both. There's a reckoning and also an appreciation for how rad America...
Yeah, I think we are
yeah.
trailblazers. But
we are trailblazers.
we definitely...
We police the world.
Right. We installed dictatorships around the world.
But
we also...
burn the oil fields in Kuwait so that they can't profit.
There you go. But no, I'm grateful I was born here.
Me too.
Because I think if I was born anywhere else, I wouldn't be me. I wouldn't be this irreverent, knowledgeable...
Quaker.
Fucking Quaker descendant who, has decided...
Like a Quaker. I don't even
A
really
Quaker
know.
is a type of... I think it's like Calvinist.
Okay, so it's a branch of... Ooh!
What is Quaker?
You know what else Paris and Robin were talking about? They were going on all these side tangents that you and I have been going on. Because I was talking about the crux of when the woman fell, which we should have brought, because that shit that you sent me was like pretty crazy. How they burned, essentially, was it the 14th century or the 13th century?
Which thing?
Where they burned hundreds of thousands of smart women at the stake because they were seen as a threat.
What? When did I send that to you?
The German pastor who wrote the what were they back then? Manifestos or
that
whatever?
The Witch Hammer, that book. Malefic, what is it called? It turns out, so that book, that guy, he was so
sexually repressed,
like vehement in his beliefs that witches were X, and he like wrote this thing, and he tried to get a lot of people to like back him on it, but people actually thought he was a nutcase.
Okay, good.
But that connection of this book with this nutcase was lost, so they like found it later on, and they were like, this must be true, even though like in his time contemporarily, like his peers did not think that he was worth his salt at all.
It's funny, we started this documentary that was about this elusive book that some collector in 1920 had found in some library, and they were like going through the pages, and I was like, it's just the fucking weirdos. I was like, everybody had their drawing, you know.
Yeah.
We don't know where it came from. You're like, yeah, it was probably just a regular fucking person. Just
it's crazy to think about a book in its context, in its author's hands. Like, you can understand something more about what is written if you know more about the author. But then when it's separate and the book becomes its own
people marvel
thing,
at the finding
it's like
of
the power
book.
of the Bible or the Quran or the Talmud or the Torah. It's like those things separated from their authors become like they're this powerful object. Like, here, his name was Kramer something Malleus Maleficarum. At the end of the Dark Ages between 10th and 14th centuries, upwards of 100,000 free-thinking women were burnt at the stake at the church's command. Such victims included nature lovers, herb growers, and midwives, the latter seen as particularly vile, as they used their theoretical knowledge of medical practice to ease the pain of childbirth, which was at odds with the teachings of Genesis. So women are supposed to suffer because of original sin, because of what Eve did in the Garden of Eden. That is why we experience pain in childbirth. So these learned women who
they don't know about orgasmic birth, by the way.
They could use nature. I want to know more about that. They could use nature and like poultices and teas and tinctures and stuff to like ease the pain of bringing a child into the world, and they were seen as bad. They were seen as like devilish because they were subverting God's will, because it was God's will for women to experience
like
pain.
Women being like, oh, chew on this ibuprofen leaf.
Yeah.
And this will help.
And they're like, witch, kill her! You have to suffer. I love you, sort of, but you have to suffer. It's so fucked.
Women can orgasm during birth. That's a thing. It's called orgasmic birth.
Huh.
I read a book called Orgasmic Birth, and it was just like a fucking tome of just, hey, this is the cascade of events when your body is going through labor. If you do XYZ, you can, it was just like all this nice sacred knowledge that you're never taught ever, but under any circumstance. And I was recently, I follow a lot of birth accounts and
that's weird. Why would you do that? Just kidding.
It's funny, my therapist has recommended that I don't, because I'm so afraid of another surgery, C-section. That's like a whole nother tangent, but
yeah,
let's stay on course. What was I talking about?
Orgasmic birth.
Oh, they were talking about how, like, name one movie where
a woman is not thrashing and dying.
A woman is just like focused. Because, like, a lot of the videos I see are just focused women squeezing out a baby. Some of them orgasm. Some of them, there's ecstasy. It's like crazy. And she's like, you've never seen this depicted in a movie.
It's not dramatic.
It's not dramatic. But like if you flip the script on the source of life, the source of what we all go through, coming out of a vagina or a uterus, how different would our things look?
That's our big podcast question, babe. Like, we always come back to this, like, what if we weren't second-class citizens throughout all of history?
What if
How
we could
different
get
would
credit
it
cards
be?
sooner than 1974?
We laugh because it's true. I'm still trying to wrap my mind around physically how you could dilate your cervix so wide and
Isn't it
still have an
crazy?
orgasm.
Yeah, no, it's possible.
It's very cool.
It's like getting towards the end of your pregnancy. You're looking at baby's head, going like, no. And then you see some, and you're like, oh yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, I can do
that.
Do you ever get jealous of like dogs? Like dogs are like,
Just
a
squishing
dog
out.
is this big and their babies are like this big.
They're just like, bing, 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 bing.
Here comes another one. Here comes another one. That's so wild. It just makes me think of that octuplet lady.
Oh my god, puppies are so cute. You ever held a puppy?
I think probably. I don't know. I've birthed a lot of kittens.
Little kitty babies.
Kittens are pretty cute. They're like,
nipple.
witchcraft had long been forbidden by the church. Go figure. Whose viewpoint on the subject was explained in the Canon Episcopi, written in 900 CE. It stated that witchcraft and magic were delusions, and that those who believed in such things had been seduced by the devil in dreams and visions. Kramer blamed women for...
Because God forbid God talks to you that way, or an archangel, or, it's just like, no. If it's about you and things that help your community,
yeah, it's wild.
satanic.
It's like, oh, if men are talked to by a burning bush, it's God.
They're
But
chill.
if women are talked to by, flowers or butterflies, that's the devil. Sorry. Sorry.
I also, it's crazy. I don't know the lineage of the Bible that well, or who wrote it, right? But there were
So many people wrote it.
so many people. None of them were Jesus.
Right. He didn't write anything.
These were apostles. Is that the right?
Yes. So
Person
the
who's-
people who wrote the New Testament were...
Right. We're not. Who wrote the Old Testament?
The Old Testament, so each chapter, each book of the Bible is named for,
Who it was written by?
I guess.
Okay, but then wasn't there King James who came along and threw out a bunch of different stuff and burned
Like to make a new version of the Bible?
Yes. So it's just like when you pick a hyper religious person and go, so none of these thousands of year old people are wrong? Right. Ever?
Yeah.
Under any circumstance? Do you ever wonder or question the validity?
That's
and
the principle of scriptural inerrancy that we talked about when we were talking about Protestantism. Whereas the Catholics believe in papal infallibility. So whatever the Pope is saying in regards to scripture or like the church
so
and learning
fucking
is like
flawed.
has to be true. They have the opposite thing. Their ultimate authority is the scripture. But they don't they don't take into consideration like
That a person
this
wrote
is
it.
a big long game of telephone. Like the different editions of the Bible, the different languages, like the different interpretations.
The parts that powerful people said no, reincarnation is gone.
Yeah, like the Book of Mary Magdalene and stuff. Gone.
The cherry picking aspect doesn't make you question, and then you're like, well, a lot of us are just a lot dumber, I guess, than we. Oh! And then we should be. We're going to keep going because we're almost at the end.
What happened?
The GoPro died.
Is your mic working?
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah. Oh, God. I was like, well, I guess we still might have the phone.
A Quaker is a member of the Religious Society of Friends. a Christian movement founded by George Fox circa 1650. That's when Banfield Capron was born, 1650. And devoted to peaceful principles. Central to the Quakers' belief is the doctrine of the inner light, or sense of Christ's direct working in the soul. This has led them to reject both formal ministry and all set forms of worship. Interesting. Society of Friends.
Meanwhile, in Buddhism or various Hindu religions, God will speak to you if you just quiet your fucking mind. Like, versus like, here, just don't, hey, stop. Don't, just read the thing, you know, or stop reading the thing, just do the thing.
Yeah, I'm looking at a timeline for the development and propagation of Buddhist traditions. And in the 1600s, well, 1600s isn't even on here. What the hell? It's like much older than that. Okay, 16th, 15th century. In the 17th century, when Vietnam divides during this period, the Nguyen rulers of the South choose to support Mahayana Buddhism as an integrative ideology for the ethnically plural society of their kingdom, which is also populated by Chams and other minorities. I don't know what any of that means. The Toyotomi family...
You don't know what a Cham is?
The Toyotomi family rebuilds a great image of Buddha at the temple of Hokoji in Kyoto in 1614. In 1642, Gushi Khan of the Koshud donates the sovereignty of Tibet to the 5th Dalai Lama. That sounds like Genghis Khan's descendant. Gushi Khan? It's Guushi, and the U's have umlauts over them, so it's like Gushi Khan of the Koshud donates the sovereignty of Tibet to the 5th Dalai Lama. That's what's going on in Buddhism during the invention of the Society of Friends. Wait, are you ready for me to go for 2 weeks?
No.
What's going to happen to us?
Nothing.
Will we still psychically communicate?
There's only 8 episodes that have to be edited.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, dude. What was
nice.
We're on 48. What was the most recent?
41, I thought.
Yeah, dude. There's a lot.
I love it. And then tomorrow we're going to be on Happy Birthday Pod.
Tomorrow we're going to be on Happy Birthday Pod. I'm a little bummed it collides with my Sarah class, but then Lucas is like, I have band practice. And I was like, fuck.
What should we do?
Hand Ruby the iPad and just chill.
I'm sorry you have to miss your class.
That's okay. I don't ever miss it.
Should we look up?
It starts at 8, and this is from 7 to 8, so it's like I could jump in at 8:30 or...
Okay. All right.
Where are they? They're all over the country?
I think they're in... Maybe one of them's in Chi-Town. I don't know. Maybe not Chi-Town, maybe
They
Illinois.
don't do it live either.
Nah. But they're really funny. I'm excited to talk to them.
I'm excited to talk. I'm excited that they wanted us back on.
I know. Dan the man. Oh, dude. Yesterday at the waxing salon,
God.
I overheard someone paying for their lower back, full butt, and full Brazilian, and they tipped $5.
No.
I was like, skirt! One of these nice, gentle heroes just ripped all that hair off of your nether regions, and you give them $5?
No.
Are you nuts? That is so rude.
God, you know what though? Like a heavily waxed person, I don't fucking trust you.
Oh, no way.
You're not a good person.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I brought it up to, I went on a little walk around the triangle with Madeline. She has a dog who doesn't like me, so we're trying to like socialize her.
Is it just growling all the time or what?
She's like very protective of Madeline, and I think they grew up together in the pandemic. Like that's when she got Poppy. And our first interaction, she was feeling really territorial. So we're trying to make her forget that by, me going on walks with them and her seeing that it's chill, that I'm chill.
Yeah.
So I was telling Madeline about it, and she said some of her friends are incredibly hairy and just hate that part about themselves. And I don't know what it would be like to have a super hairy butt or like a super hairy back, because my hair it's prolific, but it's not particularly.
Lucas always marvels that he's like, you're just so hairless. And I'm like, yeah, it's just not. Yeah, I don't know.
You've got no hair except on top of your head.
Except on top of my head.
I'm thinking I might cut off my blonde.
Is it dry?
Super dry.
It looks good though. It's like I always toy. I'm like, oh, I want more blonde back in my hair, but then I know how fucking dry it gets. So you guys were talking about hairy friends.
Yeah, she said some of her friends are really hairy, and they do that every 4 or 5 weeks. They do that waxing every 4 or 5 weeks.
I mean, I would just go get laser hair removal at that point. I'm not gonna pay hundreds of dollars to have my fucking hair removed. Yeah,
every month and a half you gotta pay $200.
The human form has been obsessed with being hairless though since Cleopatra. I mean,
it's always bothered me. For the longest part of my life, I just let everything grow, everything, everywhere, as long as it could. And I sort of got a kick out of how grossed out people would get by it. And I'd be like, oh, you're grossed out by it? Show me your armpits. Yeah, oh, looks like you haven't shaved your armpits today. Why is that? Talking to a dude. Why do I have to do this performative hair removal thing to make me look like a little girl?
Because we've been doing it since 3000 BCE. So when we started removing that we could find.
But I just think that the expectation is unbalanced.
Well, you're trying to unhinge some... in 3000 BCE... razors were made first of seashells to shave off pubic hairs.
I mean, I understand the utility of that hair removal, but as far as for me to look more feminine, it's F you. I'm gonna introduce you to a new version of femininity, and it's got hair, baby.
Ancient Egyptian women also used sugar-based waxes to wax themselves. So this thing,
it's old, yeah. Shit. But I just don't like how unbalanced it is, I really didn't start doing the hair removal thing until I turned 30.
I think most women are, Erica is absolutely grossed out by it.
By hair?
I think women are more kind of focused on details and stuff, so inherently we're like, oh, get rid of this. We're more...
Yeah.
We like to accentuate
preen and
geishas paint. We're always kind of honing in on those details of appearance.
And yeah, that's what I was going to say. I felt like that I was doing it to be rebellious, keeping my hair because I knew everybody wanted me to remove my hair. But then around 29 or 30, I was like, I'm bothered by this hair. I don't want to have it, it's irritating and it gets stuck in my elastic and I don't want it. So that's when I really started to pay attention to it and remove it. But it was on my own terms.
Queen Elizabeth I initiated this trend in an effort to create a longer looking forehead by removing their eyebrows. See, we've always been just fucking with shit,
Oh yeah, there's so many different social conceptions of feminine beauty.
Yeah, I just want a longer forehead, babe.
I just want to do my own thing.
Longer forehead. You know what I'm saying? But 6-inch forehead.
Do you know what I mean? I don't want to cater to someone else's expectations.
Yeah, for hair removal, it's hard for me to get into that mindset because I've never done it for somebody else or how I'm being perceived.
So if I can offer an anecdote, my first experience, in becoming aware that I even had hair was in middle school, and this boy on the bus, Ricky Cochran, was making fun of my hairy legs. and he was making me feel really bad about it. And I was sitting with my friend JD, and JD like got out his pen and was like gonna fucking stab Ricky, and he like stood up for my honor.
Trauma.
Yeah, and so
to that.
I went home that day and I was like, Mom, I'm shaving my legs. And she was like, you're gonna regret it. You should just let them grow, and you'll never have to shave them because they'll stay little and, you know, be blonde and tiny. Because once you start shaving it, you have to do it for the rest of your life. And I was like, I have to do it because people at school are making fun of me. So then I started, and then I had a lot of like eyebrow trauma because I had like shave it because I had a unibrow. I pluck it now. Like, I know what I want to look like and how to maintain it. But in middle school, I was like shaving eyebrow off and like drawing it back on.
I have no memory, history, any stories related to my hair removal. I just like, I don't even think about it. Like, it doesn't.
But yeah, it's crazy that it's just automatic for you.
Yeah. Or it's not a bothersome thing. I don't care what other people think, regardless if they expect it or don't expect it. Or I'm also just naturally not very hairy, so it's never really been an issue.
It's always been in the forefront of my appearance in my mind. It's like an important thing. Interesting.
Yeah. I mean, you've brought it up a lot, and I'm always like, I don't even know what to say because I don't have any experience with it or think about it, but
interesting.
I know that Erica, she has, you know, all the sensory spectrum of stuff, and hair has always bothered her. So I'm always just like, well, who cares? Who fucking cares? My mom was really against me doing. She didn't want me to get my driver's license until I was 22. She didn't want me to.
Why?
I couldn't wear makeup until I was 20. She had, I don't know, this is like weird stuff with her. And then I moved, you know, got kicked out at 16. So then it was just like, I could just be regular. But it would have been nice if somebody was like, this is how this works. And this is, you know, you can use this.
So where did you learn your stuff? You just did it?
Trial and error, yeah. Because I also had 0 friends that were ladies. And the ones that I did have turned into like mean people.
It's so interesting to me that you did all the hair removal stuff just like naturally, but you didn't have any examples.
None. And I was never into like magazines. Because this was the early 2000s. Mm-hmm. I wasn't on the internet. Didn't have social media. I was listening to Blink-182 on my Walkman. And
that's crazy, man.
It was just a big void. I was just a tomboy too. I just didn't think about it. It just wasn't even on my.
But to me, a tomboy wouldn't bother with hair removal.
Yeah, that was my own personal. Like, this is getting out of control.
Yeah.
How do I do? What am I?
No, I respect you and your decision-making faculties.
I swear, there's some ancient magician like still just like operating through me. I don't get it. What is splattered all over the fucking wall?
I don't know. Blood. Oh, paint. Red paint.
Dude, I went to Hobby Lobby the other day and I was like, I want to find like a Jesus paint by numbers thing.
Why?
I don't know. If Ruby's getting crafts, because they had like a fucking 40% off sale or whatever, I wanted like a funny Jesus craft.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, what kind of squashy bits do you need me? And then there was fucking nothing.
Hobby Lobby is murky. They have like
Hobby Lobby is
very dark.
I love
underground
Hobby Lobby because I'm like, oh,
it's a front.
Oh, you're so American and so Christian for shopping at a place that all fucking comes from China. You know, it's just
yeah.
It's just so. I love how backwards it is.
It's so wild. It's like all their sales go towards stealing artifacts
Yeah.
buying artifacts on the black market or whatever that version is, that have been stolen by like terrorist organizations from Holy Lands, and they're like these underhanded
where do they live?
transactions.
Can we go to their house?
The Hobby Lobby people. I imagine they live in a zeppelin, like a blimp in the sky. It's like constantly
class up there.
It's like constantly camouflaged with mirrors or something, and they only ever come down for church, I guess.
Oh,
Church and Golden Corral,
dude,
or Luby's.
There were 3 couples. We're just going to buy cheap, paints and whatever. There were 3 couples. Each had a cart, and each cart was full of
Giant flowers.
Trash. I mean, just like wicker baskets, those like wire baskets, fake rope baskets, just like shit. I'm like, you're gonna put this in your house?
Should I put my brother on the podcast?
He's gonna be so mad. You can though. Fuck it.
Hello.
An inmate at the Virginia Department of Corrections, Pocahontas State Correction. To accept this free call, press 0. To refuse, this call is from a correction facility and is subject to monitoring and recording. Thank you for using GTL.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July, motherfucker. Hey, I gotta tell you something. You're on our podcast right now. We're doing our podcast.
So
Oh, what's up, podcast people in this motherfucker?
What's up?
Hey, look, I saw that Dune movie last night.
No shit. What'd you think?
I fucking wanted to hug you. That's all I wanted to do the whole time. I was like, fuck Dune, fuck that skinny kid, fuck Zendaya, where's my sister?
Aw, I love you.
Nah, but the movie was pretty good. I liked it, but it was only part 1. Like, as soon as it came on, it said Dune, part 1, real small, trying to sneak it by. And I was like, oh, I got you, bitch.
Yeah, a lot of people got pissed about that. Do you want to say hi to Whitney? She's here.
Oh, hello, Whitney.
dude, what's up?
My cholesterol.
Oh shit. Okay. Hey.
You know how it be.
You know how it be, though. So
Yeah, but look, it's I think this is only a 5-minute call anyway. The free Jane, and we're getting ready to go to lunch, and I just want to say happy 4th, and
Hey, Josh.
I love you and stuff.
And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today. Come on, give me some.
You're gonna do it though.
Give me some Lee Greenwood.
My singing voice is. I'm not. I haven't trained my singing voice for today yet. The lemon water's not working.
Heard.
It'll be alright.
All right, happy 4th of July.
Yeah, it is that. I love you.
I love you too. Have a good one.
All right, Whitney. Have a good day, Whitney.
Dude, bye, Josh. See you later.
Bye.
No, probably not.
No, I mean from the phone.
He was like, nah, probably not. Aww.
What's that?
Is that a whale penis? I don't want you to click on it.
Oh, Giant whale won't leave diver alone. She then realizes he's trying to tell her something. Yeah, that he's got a rock hard whale.
Dude, the whales have been kind of popping off recently, right? Like the orcas.
Not a good sign, right?
The orcas are attacking yachts. It's like a class struggle.
Ooh, leave them alone. Strange behavior.
Where are the Faroe Islands?
I don't know. Where's this?
There's
whale?
like this.
Is it whale dong?
There's this tradition in the Faroe Islands, North Atlantic Island Group, an autonomous territory of the Kingdom of Denmark. They have this tradition of like killing a bunch of pilot whales. My mom posted about it. They just like kill upwards of 400 to 500 whales.
Okay, just for a second. Look, here's this. Okay. Adult diapers.
Yes, I need those.
So I'm trying to read this thing about whales. There's a an adult diaper dry shield, absorbs 25%, neutralizes odor, and then there was a microphone thing right here. Then there was a popcorn. Oh, they're all changing. That was popcorn.
Ew,
and then
it's
this
listening
was
to us.
Alienware computer.
It's all tailored to you.
Fucking read it.
It's all tailored to you.
So why is it nothing but diapers? Adult diapers.
Do pregnant people need diapers?
No. Look,
Mac and
another
cheese.
Diaper.
Mac and cheese.
This is just throwing the crate. What is that?
Don't click on it.
What is that?
It's
Looks like a telegraph machine.
It's for contacting dead people.
Dude! You want to hear a ghost bit? We'll end on a ghost bit.
Yes.
I was at the park with Ruby. We went down to the Go Valley Park. We went swimming. She wanted to swim for like 10 minutes. And then we get out and we go to the park. And we were swinging. Then we walked away from our bag and all of our stuff. And I could feel somebody coming up. I was like, oh, I'll go grab my shit. Because somebody's over there. I turn around and there's nobody. And the way the park's set up is you can see for like a mile and a half. There's nobody. And I was like, whoa. There was for sure somebody coming up because otherwise I wouldn't be going to grab my stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I wonder if this is a fucking, like a pingalingus. And I kind of like feel the area, and it was like a really old African-American guy, and he was hanging out down there, and he really wanted me to follow him, and I was like, I'm not going anywhere. Like, I'm at the park. And kind of told him off, but that was really crazy. I'd never.
I wonder what he wanted to show you.
There's like have you ever been down? It's like off Bohm Road.
Yeah, we've been there together a few times.
Yeah, and then there's like that huge. It's very grease. Was that what that fucking movie 1950s hamburger movie?
Yeah.
Where they go racing in that. Like, there's one
Oh,
of those down
that
there.
like big
Ravine, but you could
it's like a gigantic storm drain.
Yeah, you could definitely like rip
You could drag
motorcycles
race,
or a car down there. He wanted me to go down there. I don't know. I'm sure. I don't know. But I was like, there's a fence. I can't like.
I'm glad you didn't go down there. It might have been an ambush.
Well, I told him, I was like, I can't. Sarah's always like, ghosts will want you to do all sorts of stuff. Help you find, they've got a lot of, they're stuck doing something forever.
Yeah.
But she said, you just have firm boundaries with them. Like, no, I can't. Not right now. And so I did. And he's like, that's okay. and when I get visuals of ghosts, it's funny how, like, exaggerated movements are and really repetitive. And it's weird. I'm like, I don't know how to.
That'd be so spooky to me.
It was broad daylight. I'm like, oh, yeah.
But just like the exaggerated movements is kind of freaky.
It's kind of cartoon-like, I guess.
Yeah, like your llama.
Like my llama.
Have you been noticing your llama?
No, I haven't been. I've been so. I drop a ring on Dave.
Aww.
I've been so physically dilapidated and psychically dilapidated that I haven't done anything.
But that's cool that you can still get pinged.
Totally unexpected too. Like, that doesn't seem like a really haunted region. I'm sure it is. It's the South,
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck knows what was going on on that side of town.
Everywhere, anywhere, all over the place.
But yeah.
Well, I hope somebody can help him find what he's looking for or complete his mission.
We could bring a camera and go down and see if he's still.
Yeah, we could have a whole segment of this show where we go on the road, like looking for stuff that pings you, and then I'll just be there as like the skeptic. You'll be Mulder and I'll be Scully.
I would love that. Let's do our next episode at the Colleen or the Temple Mall.
Yes.
Because it's called the Temple Mall. Because I know I want to do the whirling dervish stuff, but I know like putting that project in front of us is gonna it's gonna push everything off forever.
Yeah, it's the same reason why Rubbish Cook first started with Apocalyptic Kitchen, but then had to back burner that because it was so big. And then I remember you just being like, we just need to show up once a week and do it. Like, let's just do it. Whatever it is, we'll just do it.
We can always go back and do the whirling
and that was
dervish.
the best idea ever, because then 2 years later, I'm like, we know how to do it now, and I think we're ready for that big project now.
Yeah, and I think it was always really heavy on you. Like you say, you get lost in the sauce, but now it's like, well, now you've got the whole half of you that just knows how to pump and keep going. So now
Yeah.
you're bringing that to the table, which is...
Because I remember my snag was the Moon Village episode, because I was like, when we live on the moon, we'll all have fish tanks and then we'll eat fish, but then there's also this cheesy poof thing I want to do because of moon cheese, and I made that little replica of your kitchen. I was like, I want to fill the kitchen with balloons. I was like, okay, choose something.
I have a balloon air compressor thing now, so...
Although that would probably just explode balloons. It sounds too powerful.
No. You have manual control.
No, this
You
is
can
not
just-
true.
We could fill up a lot of balloons in a short amount of time.
So that's what we're going to do.
We're gonna go live at Temple Mall. I should have my camera back by then. I gotta call Precision today. I don't want to. And then fucking Apocalyptic Kitchen is the whole reason we started. Like, we were so excited. So I'm excited to bring that back. Also, on that B-roll website I sent you, there's a shit ton of like apocalyptic stuff.
Good.
Like, I kept coming across it. I'm like, okay, I get it. AI generated apocalyptic
It's the best.
background. I'm looking for the Salton Sea. Is that on here? No? Okay.
Did you see the Mongolian footage I put in the...
Yes.
Yeah, that was cool.
I want more of that.
It was I like that as like transitional, or like sort of explanatory.
It's expletive. We exploit
Explicative. Is that a word? Explication.
things. Dude, Davis has old man energy. He's like sleeping on my feet.
I love him.
He's not that old, but I guess this is middle age, maybe. He's just different.
He's different.
On that note, it's time to get to some admin stuff. Bon voyage, our sweet dear Mimi.
Cheers.
If you've...
It's not going to make any sense when this episode comes out in 2 months.
Look, I'm trying my best.
That was not a dig. That's just the reality of how it comes out.
If you want to Zoom, let me know. I don't, are you going to bring a computer or no?
I'm thinking I will.
Might be beneficial to some degree.
Yeah, I don't know. I might want to jam on my computer, jam on my laptop.
Goodbye!